Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Roger Buck. I'm the interim director of the counseling center here at Hocking College. Retired Navy veteran, 22 years. I'm very honored to be here today to for us to have a celebration of one of our soldiers who we lost way too early in Afghanistan. I really appreciate all of you being here, and again, we have such a glorious day. I hope Curtis is looking down on us and smiling. He has a lot of friends, family, fellow students, faculty here today to honor him as a person in his life. I want to provide a heartfelt welcome to all of you. It's an extremely important occasion for the family, friends, fellow veterans of Staff Sergeant Oates. Today's ceremony marks a significant celebration, a celebration of a young man's life who has loved, he's respected and honored by those who knew him. For those of us who did not know Curtis, we have a great opportunity to join his family today, and we thank you for that opportunity. And we have fellow soldiers and fellow veterans here, and we're all here to express our appreciation and our thanks for the life of Curtis Moose. He was a big guy out here, Oates. Does everybody know that he was 6'9"? Big guy. Okay. The importance and significance of this dedication ceremony for Curtis and for other veterans that will one day be commemorated on this site cannot be overemphasized. We are creating a memorial site that will celebrate the lives of those who have given the ultimate sacrifice of their ideals and for the freedom of their country. To demonstrate the significance of Curtis's life and his sacrifice, we come together from all over this country, from various occupations, statuses, as well as beliefs and understandings. Wherever we come from, we are all gathered in agreement of one undisputable fact. The young man we devote this day to represents what is good in our citizens and in our nation. I want to start by welcoming family members. Thank you so much for being here. We are honored at Hocking College to provide this memorial, and it is one of the most important things that I've done since I've been at this college. We have the Student Veterans of America chapters represented. We have people from Rio Grande College, we have Ohio University, and we have Hocking College students who are also part of the Student Veterans of America. That is a group that is trying to start chapters across the country so that we have military represented on college campuses by veterans. And perhaps most importantly, I'd like to welcome and thank you, those who began this whole process. This process started when we were notified of Curtis's death. And there are several people that began this process of, we need to make a memorial at Hocking College for Curtis and other fallen veterans. Kelly Harnett, longtime friend. Cheryl Mullahan, Hocking instructor. Andy Freeman, our landscape person who's been working very long hours diligently through the rain to put up 3 new flagpoles, and they just put them in this week, to really make sure that this ceremony went off well. And of course the Curtis Oates family and your support. So I welcome you and thank you all for your attendance today. Just by being here, you are a testament to Curtis Moose. Oates will always be remembered, and he has made a difference, and I suggest he's made a difference in every one of our lives as well. We're going to begin our dedication ceremony with the Nelsonville Post of the VFW, Post 3467. They will be posting the American flag. Would you please stand as they post the flags? Commander, will you post the colors, please? Please remain standing. Invocation will be read by Chaplain Major Bill Pursley, Ohio Army National Guard, retired.
Heavenly Father, we gather today to dedicate this garden to the memory of Staff Sergeant Curtis Oakes, who laid down his life to defend our nation. As we remember him this day, we ask you to bless his family with the memory of his legacy. We ask you to watch over those who serve this republic. Give them wisdom, strength, and courage to do their jobs faithfully and well. Make this garden to be a place of reflection and tranquility for all people, and hasten the day when all nations shall live together in freedom and peace. This we ask in your name. Amen.
President Jacqueline Osborne, and she has just a few words that she would like to say in honor of Curtis. President Dr. Osborne.
It's good to see the change that occurred with our weather this afternoon, and it's a pleasure to see the sun shining and the sky blue as we gather today to celebrate and to honor the life of one of our own, Staff Sergeant Curtis Moose Oakes. We're able to be here today. We're able to be free in this country because of the sacrifices of people like Curtis, other young people as well, who come generation by generation and give of themselves to serve our country. Hocking College is proud to be able to be a part of that honoring of a fallen hero. We're proud that we have young people who care enough to go forward and to give to benefit our way of life and this nation. Over the generations, young people have gone out to fight wars as long as time immemorial. I know in my own era it was Vietnam. Before that we had Korea, we had World War I, World War II, but most lately it's been Iraq and Afghanistan and places in the East. Today's young people have come forward in bigger numbers than ever, and they have given of themselves to fight for this country, to keep us safe, and to keep our way of life. The memorial that we create today is one which will be a permanent representation of our caring and the honor that we have for those like Curtis who have come in the past, in the present, in the future. This garden is dedicated in memory of Staff Sergeant Curtis Moose Oakes, a 2002 Hocking College graduate. Staff Sergeant Oakes gave the ultimate sacrifice in support of his country. Love for Curtis lives on in the hearts of many, and with this garden, his memory will continue to grow for everyone to be able to share. As the memory garden grows, it is hoped that all who enjoy the beauty will embrace the high ideals and the selfless beliefs of Staff Sergeant Curtis Moose Oakes.
First, if I could begin by thanking the family of Staff Sergeant Oakes for being here today. It helps bring home the importance of these types of memorials. I'd like to thank Dr. Buck and Chaz for inviting me and our department to participate in this important event. On behalf of Colonel Thomas Moe, Director of the Department of Veterans Services, and of course all the public servants of the state of Ohio, good evening and thanks to all of you for attending this important occasion, dedicating this Veterans Memorial Garden in the commemoration and remembrance of the service and selfless sacrifice of Staff Sergeant Curtis Oakes. Memorials such as these and places such as these, an institution of learning with a prominent role in the community, are a fitting tribute to the dedicated and courageous service of members of the armed forces such as Staff Sergeant Oakes and his comrades at arms. Staff Sergeant Oakes, with 5 other members of 1st Battalion, 61st Cavalry Regiment, died trying to build a permanent and lasting legacy of peace, rule of law, and human rights in a place, Afghanistan, which for over 30 years has known only war, oppression, and fear. Here in this Veterans Memorial Garden, the Hocking College community memorializes and honors that sacrifice through the planting of a tree, a permanent and lasting legacy of nature, which symbolizes not only the strength, growth, and permanence of our nation and liberty, but also that of the men and women of the armed forces who, like Staff Sergeant Oaks, answer our nation's call whenever and wherever that call may come. For those of us who have experienced war, especially those in this community, who have felt the warm blast of a roadside bomb, who have heard the sharp peal of an enemy rifle in our ears, and have seen and smelled firsthand the horrors that war can deliver to the human body and spirit, this memorial will serve as a quiet refuge of reflection and remembrance, a fitting acknowledgement from our fellow Americans that those sacrifices are honored and respected, and that our fallen comrades will never be forgotten. I hope that for the students of this institution, the citizens of this community, and future generations, this memorial garden and tree planted herein are appreciated for the shade and peaceful refuge they provide, symbolic of the great sacrifice made by those for whom it is named, in protecting their peace and liberty in foreign lands far from home. In doing so, I hope they stop to read the bronze plaque and the bricks that will be set throughout. I hope they will take that moment to reflect on the sacrifice and legacy of Staff Sergeant Curtis Oaks and the hundreds of thousands like him throughout our history who gave their last full measure of devotion so that others could live a life of abiding peace and prosperity. I hope that from that reflection they derive a better appreciation for the blessings in their lives and are inspired to build their own lasting legacy for their family, community, their state, and nation. Here in this Veteran Memorial Garden, Staff Sergeant Oaks' dedication and selflessness will live on, linking future generations to the foundations of the past, recalling Thomas Jefferson's famous words, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots." Thank you.
And I'd like to start with Kelly Arnett, who's a fellow student of Curtis's.
I'll try to get through this. I don't know if I can do this. It really warms my heart to see everybody here. Curtis touched a lot of people. Shortly after I received the news that Curtis had passed, I went to work to fulfill a promise that I made to him. I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to Cheryl Mulhan, Andy Freeman, and Gina Fetty for putting countless hours into creating this garden, so the memory of our hero Curtis will last far beyond our years. I would also like to thank the many other staff members at Hocking College for putting together this amazing dedication ceremony. Those of you who knew Curtis know that he was a very humble man, and he would likely be about 10 shades of red right now for making this fuss over him. Curtis was a kind man whose heart far surpassed his height and size. He was and still is my best friend, as I'm sure many of you feel the same. The first day that I met Curtis, I looked up at him and I asked him if he was part Sasquatch. And he looked down at me and asked if I was part Hobbit. And from that day forward, we had each other's back. He was there for me no matter where he was. And through many of my toughest days, he always found a way to make me laugh until I was about to cry. He was quite the jokester. One of his favorite jokes to play on me always about gave me a heart attack and left him rolling in laughter. During one of my quarters at Hocking College, I took a taxidermy class that was off campus, and it let out around 10:30 or 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. He would hide all 6'9" of him, crouched down behind a vehicle and would wait for me to walk past. And as soon as I did, he would jump up and grab me and toss me up in the air. And it's literally no wonder I did not die of a heart attack. It scared the crap out of me every single time. But he just rolled with laughter. And Curtis loved to have fun, and it was always go big or go home with him when he was involved. One of my favorite memories was my 21st birthday party. Some of you here were there. He showed up with his big 64-ounce mug that he kept filled with an adult beverage called Orange Dream, and it tasted like an orange Flintstone push pop. After several drinks, we all decided to go for a night hike in the woods behind my house, and a few of us made it up to this very creepy chicken coop, but Curtis was nowhere to be found. At first, we all expected him to jump out at us, but he never appeared, so we went trekking down the hill to look for him. We found him covered in burrs, briars, twigs, and blood, standing next to the fire with his 64-ounce mug. As he attempted to tell his version of what happened, every other word was a hiccup, and he finally hit the ground like a ton of bricks, passed out. We woke him up. It took not but a few seconds to get him up, and we walked him to the spare bedroom, where we stuck him on a twin-size bed, and he looked like an overgrown giant hanging off all sides of this bed. He politely looked up at me and informed me he thought he was going to puke. So I yelled for a trash can and received about 5 of them. In about that minute, I handed it to Curtis, and it was filled with Orange Dream. Once he was done, he looked up at me with that big old goofy grin of his, and he said, "Kelly, if I hadn't just puked, I'd kiss you for taking care of me." I never let him live that down. In fact, we talked about that day during one of our recent conversations in October when I informed Curtis that I was moving to Montana. Boy, did I catch hell. He said, "Now I'm going to have to fly halfway across the country or halfway across the world to come visit you." And I would just laugh at him and say, "You already have to, you dork. You're in Afghanistan. Didn't you remember that?" He just laughed. I left to drive to Montana on November 26th. Curtis knew that I was driving, and he was worried about me driving a lot at night. He would always call me about 10:30, 11 o'clock local time and talk to me until he knew I was stopped for the night and safe. It took me 3.5 days to get to Montana. I was so fortunate to talk to him shortly before the Lord called him home. Curtis is my hero, as I'm sure he is a hero to many of you. As Ronald Reagan said, heroes may not be braver than anyone else. They're just braver 5 minutes longer. And that was Curtis. He was braver 5 minutes longer. He was a great man that I made a promise to that he would never be forgotten. With this garden, his memory will last long after we've all gone. We all miss you and love you, big guy. We'll never forget. Thank you, Curtis.
Thank you, Karen. Next, I'd like to invite Curtis's mother, Val, to come to the podium and say a few words.
I wasn't sure whether to try to talk or not, but I can hear Curtis's voice saying, "Come on, Mom, you've got to say something." So please bear with me. We'd like to express our appreciation to all of you for coming here this evening to honor Curtis. Thank you, Kelly, whose first response to the news of losing Curtis was to initiate plans to honor and memorialize her best friend with the creation of this memorial garden. Thank you, Amber and Jason, for jointly creating the Staff Sergeant Curtis Oaks Memorial Scholarship, also in honor of their friend. Thank you, Chaz, Master Chaz, whose own service to this country gave him a keen insight as to how to best honor Curtis the way a soldier would want to be. Thank you to our military, especially those who served with Curtis. Your support, your friendship, and your love means more than words can say. Thank you, Jason, for lending your voice. Curtis loved his tunes. Thank you, Andy and Hocking College, for honoring our veterans with this memorial garden and for hosting this gathering to honor our own hero. There goes Curtis. And I'm confident this beautiful oak tree will forever stand tall and proud, just as Curtis did throughout his life. And every other year, it will produce acorns to help sustain the wildlife Curtis loves so much, and to remind us that Curtis could make us all a little nuts sometimes. Most important, I would like to thank Curtis. Thank you, buddy, for your loyalty, your laughter, and your love. But thank you most of all for just being Curtis. You are bigger than life, which makes it still so hard to accept that you are gone. But you are everywhere now, in our minds and in our hearts. Your memory keeps us smiling, and your love keeps us at peace. Everyone knew Curtis for his warmth, kindness, caring, and probably most of all, his smile and laugh. He lived at home while attending college, but never missed a party or get-together. Amber related this story, how at one particular party, Curtis ended up plunked down on a beanbag chair with a goose call in his mouth. He began blowing the goose call incessantly to the annoyance of everyone there. Amy, another friend, said, "Please, Curtis, I'll give you $100 if you just stop." Everyone here who knows him knows all he did was sound the goose call again. That was your dad. After completing 2 degrees, wildlife management and agriculture, we were surprised when Curtis told us he wanted to enlist in the Army. We could tell he was serious, and despite our own obvious concerns, we respected and supported his decision. Curtis, despite his love of laughter, knew when to be serious. In one of his letters he sent us while in basic training, he wrote, "Classes are going pretty well. We're still doing the guard fist. By the end of the week, we're supposed to be calling live fire. That will be awesome. The shells we call in have a kill radius of 50 meters. That's something. To think I'll